Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome, folks, to this Facebook Live. So good to have you here. It is birthday week, so we are celebrating by coming here and doing a live every day to be in the Scorpio energy. Scorpio, of course, is always about life, death, and rebirth. That's why you often find a lot of intuitive coaches, a lot of spiritual leaders, a lot of mystics, a lot of guides are Scorpios, water signs, because we like to go deep. So, welcome, welcome, folks. Today we're talking about being more powerful than money. And I'm going to unpack this, and I'm excited to unpack this. So if you're listening now or later, if you're listening later, put hashtag replay. If you're listening now, say hi. I have got my phone open. Let's jump in to being more powerful than money. And that's probably not a statement that you hear in your everyday reality very often. What does it take to be more powerful than money? So let's look at what happens with money. Often, what happens with money, people don't realize, but they're giving their power away to it all the time. You are casting spells in relationship to your money. One of those spells that is really common is I can't afford it, or that's not available to me, or I can't have that, or that's so expensive. And this could be anything. This could be a bar of soap for 12 bucks that you deem to be really expensive for what it is. Whereas the person who handcrafted it and took 10 hours to make it might be having a completely different perspective. So, when we cast spells with our mouth, because the words that you speak are spells, and you put that energy out into your reality, reality has no choice but to reflect that back to you. Because this is how consciousness works, folks. The universe gave you all the power. The universe knows that you're an infinite being. Your spiritual awakening is for you to remember that also, that you are infinite intelligence and there is no separation between you and God or the universe or the God of your heart, however you like to refer to high frequency energy. There's no separation, which means your spiritual awakening is really coming into alignment with knowing that from the level of mind, but also having it go through all the cells of your body, your whole energy centers, known as your chakra system, and deeply, deeply through the subconscious. So you remember who you are. And that remembering has got nothing to do with the external world. It's all you, inside you, your mind talking to you, your consciousness talking to you, who you are listening to, whether you're listening to the hunches, the vibes, the sensations, or whether you're listening to the noise of the rational mind, which you might have noticed people often refer to as the monkey mind, because the mind just loves to go into its own endless narrative. And if you've noticed, often those thoughts bubble up out of seemingly nowhere, and it can often feel like you don't have any control over them. You're not your mind, you're not your thoughts, you're not even your body, folks. You are the consciousness. You are the consciousness that is observing all of it. Which means, because guess what? God does. God is the consciousness that is observing all of it. That's who you are. And our work is to remember that. Our work is to know who we are. Our work is to embody the fact that we are God in a body. Now, that doesn't mean that we are as powerful as God, because God's the ocean and we're the thimble, but it means that God gave us power and we get to move and operate accordingly. And this is why it's so important to understand this, because consciousness, or God, super consciousness, is experiencing itself through you. When you are in fear, you contract your whole energy field, and there's not so much space for consciousness. This is why, as humans, it feels so good on a soul level to expand. And what happens when you correlate this to abundance? If you're in fear, you make it more difficult for life to move through you. You make it more difficult for life to give to you. When you expand, you make it easier for consciousness to move through you. You make it easier for life to give to you. And your thoughts are doing this all day long, right? You are deciding that something's too expensive, or you're shifting into what would it take for me to be able to have that experience. You're saying that's not available to me, right? Contracting your energy. Or you're going back into, I wonder who I would need to be in order to experience that. You're constantly doing this moment to moment, hour to hour, minute to minute, second to second, because you're an oscillating field of energy. And when you know yourself as more powerful than money, you're going to be very expanded and become very expanded, and to allow life to give to you and to allow huge volumes of light to move through you so you can create your reality. You really need to be having an incredible relationship with yourself, because you're the one who needs to respond if your mind is going into contraction or criticism or doubt or fear. You're going to need to respond to yourself and ask yourself, is this serving me or is it not? This is what people don't understand. They think, if I write my affirmations or I do my journaling at the end of the day or the start of the day, why is it that I'm not creating what I want? Because creation and manifestation is a moment to moment to moment experience. Because it's about, who am I being in this moment? Who am I being in this moment? Who am I being in this moment? And you know, because you have this internal emotional guidance system, where you're at any given moment. You go into judgment of somebody else, what does it do to your energy field? You can feel it immediately, right? It starts to contract. What does that do to your abundance? It contracts it. Excuse me. Hello, everybody. Can't see your comments. Do say hi. It's always nice to connect. Nice to have you here. Right, so if you are focusing on these things, this is why people say, if you want an instant upgrade in your reality, stop complaining. Right? No bitching, no gossiping, no judging other people. And I get it, folks, depending on where you're at in the spectrum, because sometimes our mind can be in a dark place. And if it's in a dark place, please don't expect yourself to go from contraction into expansion just like that. Aim for neutrality. You can still make it incredibly easy to manifest from neutrality, but contraction, want to come back to a resting state. You want to come back to a relaxation state. But this is the most important thing. Ownership. Ownership. If you're not taking ownership of your life experience, of who you are being, you are never going to learn what it takes to expand your vessel to be able to contain more light, for life to flow through you at a larger volume so you can receive more. If you were thinking about abundance as energy, how much are you available for? And this is where you start to realize money is part of my external, right? It is a man-made construct. When Earth was created, when people formed, there was no money, right? And then there might have been a barter system, but money is a man-made creation. But there is God in everything. So there is God in money. And the beautiful thing about money is, if you understand it, it can show you so much about your relationship with yourself. It shows you about your value. It shows you about your decisions. It shows you about your authority. It shows you about desire. It's showing you so much if you care to look. And that's why I freaking love it. Because like, money to me is like a spirit guide. Like that's how I use it. Because it's showing me all the time who are you being in relationship to that when you go, oh, I can't do that. I don't even think like that anymore, folks. The question is always, what would it take to do that? Or who would I need to be, more importantly, in order to create that outcome? And then when you start working with the energy inside of you and you realize, oh, my awareness is showing me I would be a lot more expanded. And again, for the physical, that might look like I'm a lot more confident. I'm a lot less judgmental. I'm a lot more expanded. Like there's not so much noise in my mind. And how to turn the noise off. I'm going to give you a piece of information here, folks, where if you let it land, it's going to change your life. How do you stop the noise in your mind? The very first place that it has to start is with a decision. I'm deciding to live in a mind that is peaceful and quiet, that supports me rather than goes against me. Now, a lot of people hear that, and because what's happening right now is you might feel powerless in relationship to your own thoughts. Consciousness is not powerless, right? Like that's like saying God versus a child, right? Who's more powerful? God, of course. Your mind is just chatty. And sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's negative. What's the only way to respond to that? With love. All right, I'm going to bring loving acceptance to this. Loving acceptance doesn't mean I'm putting up with it or it's staying the same or it never changes. Loving acceptance means I am very aware of who I'm being as I respond to my own mind, because if I make myself wrong, I will contract my energy, and that's going to impact my energetic field, which is going to impact my abundance. I recognize that my mind might be telling me things, but I'm just going to bring loving acceptance to that and go, oh, wow, look at that thought process that's not serving me. How do you quieten your mind? Because your mind is an amazing tool, but you want to use it for creation. And this is where the balancing act happens, right? Like we get really good at going, my mind is either helping my energy to expand or contracting it. It's either helping me to step into more abundance or it's reducing it. So what I focus on is really important. This is why every single person who teaches spirituality is like, where is your focus? Is it on what's good? But this is what happens, right? If there's part of you in your body that has unhealed woundedness, telling somebody to focus on what's positive is almost like your body's going to turn around and, excuse my French, it's probably going to say F you, right? Because you can feel the sensations that are needing to be seen and witnessed at a deeper level. And this is why everybody's always at different stages, but this is the dance, folks. Right? The deeper you go into being present to those sensations that are looking for your love and acceptance and shift that energy, the easier it is going to be to place consciousness on what it is that you want to create. And this is literally the healing journey, and why spiritual balancing is one of the fastest and quickest ways to do this, because it's actually beyond the mind. You know how like when you're feeling a sensation in your body and then your mind starts kicking off and going, oh, what's that feeling? I feel really uncomfortable. I don't like that. And then the mind tries to go to the external to find an answer. I'll just have a drink of water. I'll have a cup of tea. I'll go for a walk. But if you haven't processed the energy, the sensation that's looking to come through you, it's just going to come back later. Have you noticed? This is why witnessing yourself is profoundly powerful. Because when you have the courage to take your attention inwards and look and be with it, that is literally the path to power. But a lot of people are ignoring what's inside of themselves because they're like, oh, this is uncomfortable. I don't want to look at it. Your discomfort is an invitation to look at it. Your discomfort is an invitation to love it. You're not being punished, you're being invited. Right? Your spiritual upgrade is imminent if you actually take the time to look more deeply. A lot of people are really afraid of what they're going to see. A lot of people are really afraid of looking at themselves, of looking at their darkness. But there is nothing inside of you, folks, that is unlovable. Let that sink in from the level of mind and go all the way through your body. Let that land in the deepest part of your being. Let that land in your subconscious, because your subconscious is holding all the files, right, and doing all the cross-referencing. How do you become more powerful than money? You become more powerful than reality. How do you do that? You create a relationship with yourself inside of yourself. So you refer here before you go to the external. Because life is created from the inside out. Like the external world used to bother me a lot. I used to have conflict. I used to have arguments. I used to be in connections where things were off. And again, there's no shade on anybody, right? Just like there's no shade on me, because everybody's doing the best they can with the awareness they have and where they're at. Just because I'm a spiritual coach doesn't mean that I'm not human and I don't have egoic reactions or I don't have negative emotions. But I do take a very high level of responsibility for those things, because I know that they're mine and I need to take care of them. And who I'm choosing to be is what's important, because that is the energy that is going out into the world. So to understand that the invitation is always into more love, it's into more compassion, it is into more understanding. And when you have those things, it's like your soul exhales, your body exhales, there's more space. And when there's more space, there's more light. And when there's more light, there is more creation. Money is external. Because it's kind of like, this is what people do all the time and they don't understand that they're doing it. And you will see it everywhere once you see this. People treat money like a god. Because they look to the money, give me security, give me safety, give me validation, give me support, give me what I need. I need to get the money so I'm safe. I need to get the money so I'm secure. I need to get the money so I know that I'm valuable. How does that look? Like taking that energy to source energy, to God, the creator of all. Right? It looks like you are focusing on a tiny piece of the puzzle. Because when you actually have the courage to kind of pop that down for a second, take your attention to the divine, you understand that your sense of safety is only ever going to come from your connection with source energy. You want to feel safe in your body? Cultivate your relationship with the universe. You want to know yourself as secure? Cultivate your relationship with the universe. Want to know yourself as holy? Cultivate your relationship with the universe. Want to know yourself as abundant? Cultivate your relationship with the universe. Everything comes from your relationship that you're having with the infinite intelligence inside of you. There is nowhere you can go on the planet or in the galaxies where you are not part of God. You are in God, right? You are in the frequency. There's nowhere you can go, even when you pass folks, you're still going to be part of God, in God's mind. This is law of one, the law of mentalism. Everything is connected. Nowhere you go. There's no, like, we used to joke about this when I was a teenager with my friend Jeff. Remember, it's actually kind of high, and talking to him about what's at the end of the universe. And we're laughing, like saying a sign, saying this is it, go back. Because we both knew, even in our state, that there is no end. The alpha and the omega, right? There is no end. So to be this person who understands that you are God in a body, and where you place your consciousness, your awareness, your focus is literally showing you all the time if you have a correct perspective or not. How do you know whether it's correct? If it feels like shit, it's not the correct perspective, right? Like your emotions are a guidance system. And this is where we also have the challenge of navigating ego, which is an illusion, folks. I know that's hard to comprehend because we have this part of ourself that is primarily interested in your survival, safety. Is that person safe? Is that situation safe? Am I going to get what I want, what I need in order to survive? This aspect of self that's not interested in you thriving, it's not interested in you living from your soul. People do this to themselves all day long. They choose comfort and what is familiar over expansion and an extraordinary life because they're not willing, because it's got nothing to do with the external world, they're not willing to look at themselves. They're not willing to take the ownership to go deeper into self. Because the deeper you go into yourself, the deeper you are going into the mind of God. And when you go deep into God, you will always be rewarded, not just financially, emotionally, psychically, physically, energetically. The work, folks, is always to create a great relationship with your infinite power, and your power is infinite intelligence. Your power is God. And this is why you want to be orientating your reality to what is my relationship like with the God inside of me, because my different God is probably different from your God because you're you and I'm me. I've talked about this before, about how I decided a long time ago what did I want my relationship with the universe to be like, and I decided on funny, friendly, and accessible. And that's what my relationship with the universe is like. Those are the qualities. But of course, can you see, I've chosen that. And because reality is subjective, meaning it's going through your filters, your eyes, your frequency, your awareness, that's what's being created in my reality, because that's what I chose, because the universe gave me the power to choose. When you look at your life, understand you have chosen all of it. The money, the job, the situations you're in. Now, again, a lot of people are like, sometimes with us, excuse me. Oh, hello, everybody. Hi, Leanne. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Joe. How are you? How are you? How are you? How are you really? Are you listening to the God inside of you? The part of you that has been with you forever and will be with you forever, right? The part of you that will be with you when you pass. Your true self. Are you letting that step forward and give you awareness and give you support and give you consciousness that supports you to create your dream life? There is nothing out there that is not available to you, folks, but it starts from the inside out. You have to, if you see an ideal reality, like literally, if you want to live in Monaco and drive a Lamborghini and date a billionaire, that is a reality that is available to you. But right now, you might be in a level of consciousness thinking, no, it's not, Rebecca. It's not because you haven't decided. It's not because you haven't aligned with it. You get to have that experience if that is your desire. Some people, their true desire is literally that. Other people, their true desire is to be on, I don't know, in the movies. Another person's true desire is to live in the forest, right? Your desire is your desire, but don't let any part of you put limitations on what it gets to look like, because it is totally available to you. When you understand infinite intelligence, you understand that any timeline that you can think of, what is a timeline? A timeline is a version of you, because you're infinite, that is experiencing another reality. So you could be married here and now with 2 children. You could be in another timeline where you're single. You could be a woman here in this timeline. You could be experiencing another timeline where you're a man. Because this is when you start deconstructing time. You realize time is happening simultaneously. What does that mean? Past, present, and future. It's all happening now. You're the one who gets to move your awareness and consciousness into a different timeline. If you're experiencing a timeline now where you feel broke, there's a timeline available where you're massively abundant. And it's not something that needs to be created, folks. It's already here, but you need to shift internally to come into alignment with it. One of the things that source energy is going to show you very quickly, and you might be doing this at the moment, is where you are making reality wrong. I want you to tune into this, and I want you to check this for yourself, because you're going to find out that it's true. If you go into your infinite intelligence, the part of you that can create instantaneously, the part of you that knows itself is whole and complete, it's not looking for anything outside of itself, that energy is going to show you there's nothing wrong. That would be like saying there's something wrong with love. Through humans often, but not for source energy. That's why as humans we crave a connection with source energy, because we know that love that comes from the divine is whole and complete and perfect, as in it doesn't want for anything. And what we are looking to do is actually to ascend our awareness to that place where we're feeling those frequencies through our physical form. Very hard to go to that place if your brain keeps on telling you there's something wrong. There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with my reality. There's something wrong with that other person. Nope. This is kind of like the first rule of intuitive mastery. Like, you know, first rule of Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club. First rule of intuitive mastery, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with other people. The ego gets activated on that because it goes, what about those people who are hurting other people? You get to make choices. But to live in a world where there is no defensiveness, an open heart does not suffer. An open heart does not suffer. An open heart does not suffer. We suffer because we judge people. Because when we're judging somebody, we're judging ourselves. We suffer when we project onto somebody else something negative. Oh, that person's being a tit, or they're being an arsehole. No. You're the one doing the projection. You're the one who can uncreate the projection. That's how powerful you are. You are literally creating reality by what you are making things mean. If you are making reality mean, oh my God, everything is wrong, what's going to happen with your money? You're going to feel like money's more powerful than you, that I don't have what it takes, that it's always elusive, and you've forgotten you're the one creating it through who you're being. Everything's working out for me. Money responds to that. Oh, it's not. Money responds to that. Oh, yes, it is. Money responds to that. It is literally a big fat mirror reflecting to you who you're being. And that might sound frustrating depending on where you're at, but it's also incredibly liberating. Excuse me. When you liberate yourself from being a person who feels powerless in relationship to reality into a person who's like, I'm more powerful than reality because I know how it works. I decide. I choose. Life moves. That's how powerful you are, but you've forgotten because you've got all this evidence that life is shit. But guess what? You probably thought it was shit in the first place in order for that to happen. or you had an experience and you made that mean something about yourself and other people in the external world, and it's just playing out. So the good news is you can go back to the scene of the crime, you can collapse the energy, and you can change your future. Because your intuition's always going to show you, because this is what it looks like. I want to be more powerful than reality. So the universe is going to show you all the places where you feel powerless. This is what needs to go. Right? And this is often why people feel like, oh my God, the universe never gives you anything that you can't handle. Ever. Again, folks, the infinite intelligence that the universe is never fails to blow my mind. In fact, if you really thought about it a lot, it would just blow all your circuitry in your mind. Because you think about all the different people on the planet, and the universe knows intimately all the lifetimes that you've ever had, all the soul contracts that you've had, all the people that you are meeting in your current reality, all the things that you need to learn in this lifetime, all the level of potential being activated by yourself in co-creation with the universe. The universe knows all of it about everybody. How's that for infinite intelligence? I mean, it's mind-blowing to know that the universe knows the intimate details of your life and can help you with the very next step today, this minute. But one thing I see over and over and over again, people don't take ownership, and that's why they don't create the outcomes that they want. If you aren't prepared to take care of your own inner demons, then you can't fly. Truly, folks, because you don't want to just create money, right? You want to create happiness as well. And if you're not happy, you're probably not going deep enough. Or if you're not experiencing the outcomes that you prefer, you're not going deep enough, because you're avoiding what needs to be seen in order for things to shift, in order to be the frequency that matches that outcome. And this doesn't have to take long, right? Like, the orientation is more on, who am I being? Am I having fun? Am I enjoying myself? Is life good? And trusting and knowing, because your intuition knows you intimately. Your intuition will show you what needs to come up for your next level. But often what happens for people, that shit comes up and they feel like they're being attacked. They feel like, oh my God, this is going wrong, instead of going, no, this is an invitation, this is an upgrade, and knowing how to get themselves through that. When you are the person who can do that and do that consistently, you become more powerful than reality, because you are taking ownership of your own experience and responding to what is there for you. And this is how you become incredibly powerful, because next time some shit comes up, instead of being like, oh, I'm being attacked, God hates me, you're being like, ooh, goody, upgrade. Even if it looks and is presenting like utter shit. Because you know that you're going to handle it. And this is where you have to understand your self-perception is impacting the outcomes that you get. How you see yourself is everything. Because if you're looking at reality and going, reality is more powerful than me, reality doesn't have any choice but to reflect that back to you. If you're looking at reality and deciding in this minute that I'm more powerful than reality and what I say goes, reality doesn't have any choice but to reflect that to you. But you also have to become that person. Once you've made the decision, you have to show up as that person. And how does that person do their negative emotion? They use it to upgrade their reality. They use it to help them get what they want. They say, thank you, universe, when they get triggered. They say, thank you, universe, when things don't look the way that they prefer, because they know that their perception is out of alignment, and the universe is literally showing them through the negative emotion, this is your invitation to reclaim power and to come back into alignment. One of the lines from the Course in Miracles, you can have peace instead of this, whatever this is. Alright, so folks, if you haven't spoken to me about intuitive mastery, if it's a good fit for you, if you're still sitting on the fence, now's a really good time. The pre-sale pricing goes up on Thursday. Intuitive mastery is actually evergreen, so you will be able to join in the future, but it will be a different price, right? So now is a great time to step in. Very generous payment plans. I even have a payment plan up to 18 months if you need it. If you need that, you need to talk to me about having access to the link. But this is really about you choosing yourself, folks, right? It's not a program where you have to learn something like you did at school. Go to school, open your book, learn something. It is a program about who am I being today? How's my relationship with myself? What's going on inside of me? And again, for some people that feels like, ugh, because what am I going to find? But remember, there's nothing inside of you that's unlovable. And because I've looked deeply at myself, I'm good at holding space for people to go deep at looking at themselves. Because if you think about it, if you're in a shit mood and that shit mood lasts for 3 weeks, what does that do to your vibration? What you start to realize is that you have a very low tolerance for negative energy. So you're like, it's okay that the negative energy is here, but I'm going to be efficient. I'm going to process it in 20 minutes, not 3 weeks, because I understand the impact that it's having on my vibration, and I want to stay in expansion, not contraction, because this is a more abundant state. This is the energy of me receiving everything that I want. And that comes from me knowing that I'm more powerful than money, than reality, than what that person said, than that person's opinion, than how that person's showing up. Who was it? Was it Eleanor Roosevelt who was talking about, you don't talk about people or things or circumstances or what other people are up to. If you are talking about other people a lot, folks, you are in a lower level of consciousness. Shock horror. Because when you shift into a higher level of consciousness, you're too busy talking to God, right? What would God have me do? Where shall I go? What is it that I wish to become? Show me, God, the frequency. Show me how to be a match to my desire. Show me who I need to be. It is a completely different conversation. It's not even focused on the external world. It's focused on your relationship with the most intimate part of you, the divine. And that all comes from choice and perspective and courage, really, to live to your full potential. Because the universe is going to take you to places that blow your mind. The universe is going to unlock doors in your life that you could never fathom. I have worked with people who've had serious health conditions, folks, like heart problems, migraines, source energy. Heal that. Often instantaneously, because it is the source. It is whole and complete. It holds the energy of the solution. I have seen people experience incredible financial windfalls and create incredible, consistent windfalls, right? One client who was forgiven a $250,000 loan because she shifted her frequency and how she felt about it. That kind of thing is life-changing, folks. But also, too, when you're in those situations, you can feel so powerless in relationship to it, right? Like, oh my God, it's so big, or oh my God, it's got so much control over me. No. I own the fact that I am the creator of my reality. This is the correct perspective, and I get to shift it. I get to be more powerful than that. And when you are, you can collapse things in your 3D reality or create them, like money. And this is because people are often so tied to that old 3D version, right, of the external world has power over me. And in fact, unfortunately, a lot of people are trained this way, right? The education system doesn't actually contribute to an internal narrative. It contributes more to living from your head, and this is your highest form of intellect, rather than being fully aware of your body, which is where all your chakras are. Right, and the top 3 chakras, folks, right, like your crown, your third eye, your throat, they are, like you can talk, right? Like those chakras are usually always pretty open. Even sometimes when people are like, I feel like I can't express myself, maybe it's starting to get a little bit contracted. Your heart space is always open. If it wasn't, you'd be dead, right? Right? The heart loves no matter what, but it's the bottom three chakras. If you want to manifest things effortlessly and easily, your power center, your sacral, and your root, you want them to be open, because when they are all open, you can be guaranteed that you feel safe. Right? We're talking about the energy expanding. You can be guaranteed that you feel safe. People hold most of their junk in the lower three chakras, especially women. Right? I'm not safe. I can't create what I want. Not grounded onto the earth place. Any kind of rage, any kind of I've been perpetrated against, etc., etc. You declutter your house. You want to declutter your chakras. So it's safe for you to mainline source energy and walk in the energy and all the cells of your body of knowing that the universe has got you. Because one of the biggest things here is often our relationship with the universe. There is no separation, but goodness knows the mind loves to go, God's out there and I'm over here. No, God is right here. So that's why you want to take your attention inwards and notice what God is telling you through your own vessel, through your own body. That's where the awareness is. So when God gives you a hunch or an idea drops in seemingly out of nowhere, or you get a sensation to move in a particular direction, you actually follow it. And guess what? You've been getting hunches all day long for the last God knows how many years. But you ignore them because you go to the rational mind and you rationalize your way out of it instead of actually being curious and following it. Because often we've been trained that way, but also because of your own fear. Because what people are mostly afraid of is actually being powerful. If I'm really powerful and I can manifest everything I freaking well want, what does that mean? What does that mean about me? Does it mean that my friends won't like me? Possibly. Does it mean that reality is working against me? Does it mean that it's going to be unsafe? No. You are going to be powerful enough to deal with all of it, no matter what presents. And it's all perfect, right? It's all soul learning. But some people, right, are still in self-attack, and that is a downward spiral. It's not an upward spiral. It is a ever decreasing circle if you're in self-attack or self-judgment. How do you know if you're in self-attack? If you're judging other people, you're still in self-attack. Because when you judge other people, you're just judging yourself. Because we're all connected. It's your projection. It's your energy that you're putting out into the world. Right? So, awarenesses. Takeaway. Hi, Wendy. How are you, lovely? Have you folks explored intuitive mastery yet? And if not, why not? Like, what's stopping you? Do you have fear that you won't be able to do it? Do you have fear that you don't have what it takes? You don't need a certain level of intelligence to do intuitive mastery, folks. You don't need qualifications. You don't need degrees. You need courage, and you need to choose yourself. You need to identify that infinite intelligence is inside of you, and if you allow it to help you live your life, you're going to create extraordinary outcomes. But you have to decide, right? You decide that your life is going to change. You decide that your life is going to be magical. You decide that you're going to start mainlining high frequency energy. You decide, because nobody else can do it for you, right? Nobody else can create the change. You can. Now, one thing that I'm very good at in intuitive mastery, and this is why a lot of people have had outrageous results from doing this work, right, is I read energy all day long for a living, and I don't let people off the hook, right? I will love you, but I'm not going to coddle you, because you need to stand on your own 2 feet, right? You need to be the person who's claiming their power for themselves. And to be fair, you don't want it any other way. You're too powerful to give your power away to somebody else, right? This work isn't about, and again, like if a client gives their power away to me, I'll just give it right back. Because you're the one who knows what's right for your life. You're the one who gets to make your decisions. You're the one, because I think often too, I did a round of intuitive mastery once, and at the end of it, we were just kind of talking about the process. And one person said very bravely, she said, I thought you were going to do it for me. This is a deep, unconscious thing. And guess what? It's impossible. Nobody can do it for you. You have to choose yourself. You have to decide to align with the mind of God. Because as soon as you decide, everything starts shifting in your reality. Right. This is why, even in the prospectus, I ask people to put their hands on their heart and tune in and ask for themselves. Because it has to be a decision that comes from your energy, your soul. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not interested in that, because this is about a relationship that you're having with yourself. It's not about learning information. It is choosing to transform into a light leader. And that is something that you need to get your ego and your fear out of the way and decide that you're ready and step in with that energy. And in fact, I wouldn't want it any other way. I'm not here to convince people to do the work, right? I'm here to talk to the people who are ready to own their leadership at a whole different level. Because what you might be noticing right now, folks, is where the universe wants to take you and your own self-perception right now, they don't match. So what often happens, right, is part of you has to die in order to ascend. You can't take your old identity with you into a new frequency. And guess what? This process is continuous, folks. I'm not the same person that I was even before when I went away to Greece. My goodness, right? Like again, but I'm talking to the universe all day. So the process often for me is quicker and faster because I know what to do, right? And I'm working with the universe constantly. Even yesterday, I'm not the same person. Right? Because shifting energy constantly, because if you want your life to be amazing, you're going to let yourself truly feel joy. And the only way to feel joy is to love your shadow. There is no other way. Because otherwise, you're just going to feel like, oh, there's something there that I'm not looking at. The deeper you go, the higher you fly. But again, it's also a choice in terms of leadership. It's also a choice in terms of ownership. It's also a choice in terms of being willing to see yourself, to be seen, to be witnessed, to be loved. Right? It's your choice. So I've put the link in the comments. Do we have any questions here while I'm here? Tomorrow is Wednesday already. Tomorrow I'm doing a little bit of a giveaway. So same time, 9 o'clock, make sure you're here. On Thursday, we'll do more psychic readings. And on Friday, it's my birthday, so we'll do a little bit of everything. We'll be celebrating that at 9 o'clock. So 4 Facebook Lives today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Make sure that you join us same time, same channel, same place. You're welcome, folks. You're welcome. Right? What is stopping you from going into the next evolution? What is stopping you? Because also too, folks, this isn't just about learning how to process your emotions. This isn't just about feeling better. This is about being reborn on a cellular level. Right? This is about shifting frequency. And your brain might not understand what that is. Right? It's about allowing more space for the divine to move through you. It is about letting go of control. It's about letting go of thinking that you create your outcomes. You don't create your outcomes, folks. Source energy creates it through you. And I want you to think about it. If you feel like you have to hustle, grind, do the things, there is a whole different reality where you get to lean back, relax, open up, expand, allow more light to move through you, and have the creation unfold beautifully because you're not trying to control the shit out of it. Because control often looks like this. right? I'm a child of the universe, but the universe is in control. It's also known as surrender. How willing are you to surrender to the greatest power? How willing are you to take instruction from the God of your own heart? How willing are you to move when God says move? How willing are you to get out of your own frickin' head because of the stories that people tell themselves? People come to me and I'm like, I'm stuck. No, you're not. Just haven't made a decision, right? How do I know what the right decision is? Well, let's listen to your body. Right? And again, if it hasn't clicked in, if you are alumni listening to this, best price ever, folks, right now. It's a no-brainer in terms of trust, accountability, ownership, leadership, you getting the outcomes that you want, you being more powerful than money, you being the person who says, I want to create this, the universe bringing you the blueprint, you following the blueprint, voila, it lands in your 3D reality. The irony is too, folks, often with spiritual work, is it can feel confusing, right? Like there's a lot of information out there. But that's why my work is to always bring you back to yourself. You know what's right for you. When you know, you can always make the decisions, right? When you know, you're always going to have the clarity. When you know, because you're listening to your own inner voice, you're always going to know what to do in the 3D to create it. One of the biggest things I see for entrepreneurs is they're listening to their mind and not their intuition. Right? They're, instead of having the patience to sit still and truly get into a receptive state and allow the awareness to come through, they're so busy taking action from the rational mind because they're willing to take action. They don't have any problem with doing. They're often workhorses, right? Like, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. But to stay still enough to actually get the awareness, because this infinite intelligence might actually have a bigger perspective than you do, right? To receive the awareness to take action on it. And I know sometimes folks, right, I get it. Like often when you hear people like me talking, you know, I used to do this. I used to yell at Wayne Dyer, and I remember in the office at the BNZ when I worked there. And I used to say to him, it's easy for you, right? You're already there. But if you feel like, can you see what I was doing in that situation? I was feeling separate from source. If you feel like source energy is separate from you, if you don't realize that you're the one with the power, if you don't have a good, clear relationship with these high frequencies, that needs some embodiment. There's nothing wrong. It just needs embodiment so you feel confident, so you feel safe, so you know what to do, so you know that when your awareness speaks, it's for you. That's true power, folks. That's how you make all the money that you want. Right? What is the thing? Like literally, like even the experience of a while before I went to London and to Greece, and my awareness, I woke up one morning and again, how do you tell? Because it's a certain frequency, right? It's not really a thought process. It's more of an awareness, a hunch, a nudge, a kind of sensation in the body rather than a thought process. And it bubbled up into make an offer. It was really simple. And I was like, well, what's that? What's the offer? You know, that was kind of my job to figure that out. But when I was away, and it started, right? I was like, okay, what do I do with that? It started with who here in this group is in Europe? That's where I started, a few people. And then it kind of started consolidating, right? And I was like, oh, okay. And then it came together. One person said yes, we had a conversation, and it turned into a VIP day because that's literally all the time that I had. It worked out beautifully. It was a beautiful experience. It was incredible just by listening to my awareness. Not a lot of effort in that. In terms of return on investment, wildly profitable. To be able to hear that, receive that. put one post out, get some feedback, have a conversation, and then not just the money, folks, too, but the experience. Oh my God, did we have a great day together? It was awesome. In fact, it was best fun ever. And if you are in the United States and California, I'm going to be doing 2 VIP days in January. Best fun ever. You know why we get together? There's pre-work. We get together, we go through it, you do the embodiment work, and you get support for 21 days afterwards. So if that's something that's of interest to you, do let me know. In the meantime, folks, where are you at in your relationship to your infinite intelligence? God is talking to you all day long. Are you listening? Are you like, hello, this is so good. Oh my goodness, life gets to be easy because I'm going to listen and I'm going to receive it. I'm going to take action on it. I get to enjoy myself. I get to be as a child of the universe, playing in the energy of innocence, enjoying yourself, because you have all this support around you. You are in God, right? There's nowhere you can go that you are not in God. So folks, on that note, I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Anybody got any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. I'm sending you lots of love. Bye for now. Bye.